Hello and welcome to the Safing live stream.
Welcome back.
It's been quite a ride today. We have not been sure till yesterday, no, this morning actually, if you will be here today or if it will be a solo session again. Let me know if you had enough of Daniel anyway, if you only want solo sessions. No, I feel like it's much better if it's the two of us. I do enjoy this more.
Yeah. Well,
even though sometimes the start is a little bit rougher, I'd say.
You mean precisely timed?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's how you can phrase this as well.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's the version I prefer.
I hope we're coming out clear. I already see Mike is here, so welcome, Mike. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, also thank you, of course, for the lovely messages. I hope you are doing great as well. The sort of ish main topic for today is that we finally pushed an update into the beta release channel.
Just now, so
exactly
5 minutes ago.
Exactly, basically during the live stream almost. So I hope I'm not getting any updates on my Portmaster while the live stream is running. Otherwise, this could cause a hiccup. No, I think it should not. We'll see. Yeah, thank you, Mike. Okay, yeah, I was not sure because the preparation was not quite there. I was just jumping in. Yeah?
That was just really interesting. That triggered a thought for me. Interesting one. So you said we did the release almost during live stream, and this is actually a fun idea. Like
pushing stuff during live streams?
No. But kind of doing work together with the community.
Them giving us live feedback.
Live streaming a bug fixing session. That sounds fun.
You know, way back when, I think this was 6 years ago, there was a Safing Twitch channel.
That's true, but that was building something. It was not meant to be primarily interactive, and we didn't have a community back then. So I feel that a lot of things are different, and kind of that's a thing that I think I would like to try if we find a good way to set that up. Just kind of to do two hours of kind of
people have been sort of asking for me to do videos on how to solve the bug. But the situation is, like, if it's a pre-recorded video, I guess the attention is not there because watching me figuring something out live, I don't know if you'd like this. I mean, I enjoy the process.
Yeah, you never know kind of what you run into, of course.
100%. You don't know.
But it would be interesting kind of to, especially like if there are like bugs that are like not easy, kind of to like interact with the community. Like, okay, what do you think? How could that be? Let's look into the code. Would that be a possibility? Yeah. Okay, let's try this, and I can just build a new release, push that to the support channel. That's what it's for, and people can immediately switch to that version and try it out live.
Super interesting.
During these.
Yeah, let us know if you're interested in that sort of stuff. Let us know in the comments. I think this might be interesting. Maybe just to share about unexpected stuff.
Yeah, it was just a random idea, so maybe it won't happen. But yeah, definitely let us know what you think about kind of a live bug fixing session. That was just a random thought right now.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Lab Monkey, I'm enjoying the product. Heart emoji. Yeah, thank you. Just can't get much info about the SPN. Ask us. This is the place where we can. This is a question this is what this is designed for. So if you have questions about what we do, that's what this is for. Sometimes people ask about troubleshooting stuff, and I'm like, this is better done with like screenshots and so on. And we're active on our Discord channel. So Lab Monkey, if you're not on the Discord yet, you don't have to. You can also ask all the questions on the YouTube. But the Discord is a great place, and we're
with lots of active people that will help you out and give you different perspectives and ideas how to solve things, for example.
Because we don't use every piece of software out there. We use Portmaster, but like especially when it comes to stuff like AdGuard or NextDNS, we have people who are using one and people who are using the other, and they have tons of experience and they can help as well. So, but with SPN, ask your questions. I think we can get into this. I just want, because you said figuring stuff out live, and I so enjoyed this that I need to share this as well in here. If you have not watched the Discord FAQ videos, there is one where I go through installation of Portmaster on Ubuntu, and I have not touched Ubuntu in years. In years, it's never been a distro I mainlined, I guess. But I of course, like I'm aware I'm using Pop! OS for gaming reasons and stuff, but typically I'm a Fedora kind of guy. I like RPM, I like where it puts stuff and stuff like that. So I don't use apt that much, and especially not on Ubuntu. So my experience with Ubuntu is always in forks, where people sort of like changed out the stuff that's canonical. Messes up.
And or they think mess up or not good enough or whatever.
So two things I realized while recording it, and I left it in, was, I think one was that...
You can't double click deb packages? Right?
Exactly. Yeah. The software thing, Canonical removes the GNOME software manager and puts in their own weird one. They put in their own weird one. And when you double click on a deb.deb file, it does not do anything. And I was so confused. I'm like, okay, good. Wait, what? I thought I'm on GNOME. I thought they just skinned the GNOME software, but they did not. They have their own thingamajig, which is horrible. So I then, in one take, told people to install the software thing, and then in another one, I'm like, you probably, if you're on Linux, you probably already have figured out a way to install .debs anyway. I hope you do. And then, or at least use software. You see me use GNOME software, so maybe you will figure out that yourself. And I think there was some other thing which I then figured out that Ubuntu does not do either. And I'm like, I can't even.
Did you, like, was it something like having curl pre-installed or something?
Yes, you're right. Ubuntu does not come with curl. And I'm like, what is happening here?
It depends on kind of what system it is, and I feel curl isn't pre-installed on many systems.
Okay, don't know. I think it's on Fedora, but like I was so confused, and then I'm like, okay, I need to apparently install curl before using, because that was the second option where I went through the generic installer, not the .deb one, it's downloading stuff via curl, moving stuff, and it was so. I can't even. So, Ubuntu for y'all out there. Try using a better distro.
Like Pop! OS. Pop! OS is an amazing distro. It's easy to use, and they're working on a new desktop environment. Maybe we'll have a third big one soon, next to KDE and GNOME.
Maybe wait until then.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that, of course, as well.
But of course, the first version will be rough, probably, as with all software.
Mike says on Discord, many of us out here have not touched Ubuntu. Yeah, I guess you're right. Lad Monkey then asks, okay, great, thanks. We'll try the Discord. Yeah, do so. Please do. Mad Lad, welcome, Mad Lad. What's new in SPN? We can share some stuff there. Any exciting new features under development? And then Lad Monkey, is there a centralized way or dashboard to manage multiple portmasters? Yeah, that's the reason why you were laughing.
Yeah, that's why I was laughing. Let's go. Let's do the other first.
No.
Or do you want to go on that first?
No, we are the mainline topic for everybody who joined us now. In the beginning, we said we're talking about 1.68.
Yeah, the update that is now in beta.
And then I think we will go into SPN, because there have been a couple of SPN questions. and then we can go into Lab
Okay.
Monkey.
Okay.
That Lab Monkey, if you're not here at the end of it, and if we were not able to answer your question fully, then maybe ask us again on Discord or watch the video later. I'm just like, typically, I think I saw your name for the first time. All the others, I already know. I know Matt Latt and I know Mike. They know that we're here for an hour-ish. So if you have to go away or something and cannot hear the answer later on, check on Discord. So 1.6.8, main topic for today.
Yeah, so there have been a couple 1.6 attempted releases in the last few days. But so this is the first release we're doing with a new build system. That means there were a couple hiccups there that we had to solve during build.
Why do we have a new build system?
Well, what we're trying to do is we're trying to simplify a lot of things. We're trying to simplify how we work, how we do things, but also in the code base, we try to simplify things, reduce complexity, make everything faster, easier to work with, to work on, and so on, because that makes us as a team more efficient, gives us the time to work on important things. Of course, it's an upfront investment, but I think will pay off in the long run, especially for community contributions, because until now we had many repos, and we're trying to pool everything into one mono repo, so you can just clone that repo, run the build system, which is based on Earthly, which is kind of they say it's kind of if Docker and then Makefile had a baby, so it's kind of Docker-ish based, but very convenient because you can do all sorts of different technologies in one place. So we're working on being able to build everything, all components, in one process. So there's one command. It'll use Docker, so it won't kind of contaminate your system, and we'll just build everything. And that's pretty amazing. So we're starting to use that already for releases and also kind of CI testing and on GitHub. So that's great. That's kind of what kind of deferred the release a bit. And also there were also other bugs that we only saw when we were smoke testing on Windows and stuff. So yeah, but all
and fixed bugs we saw and fixed mostly. You saw maybe on the Discord the comment that you made.
There's one known issue at the moment, but
that we're aware of.
Yeah, in that release, of course. There are other known issues in Porpoise generally, but there's one new bug that we know of.
That got introduced with the update.
Exactly. Not just a kind of cosmetic bug, not too.
That's the reason why we continued pushing it and did not hold it back further for 1.6.9.
yeah. So, but 1.6.8 now contains quite a lot of fixes that were done during the last months. So the last month, as we explained last live stream, we spent a lot on the whole infrastructure thing, like our kind of development flow and stuff like that, and also fixed a lot of bugs. So we had one bug about kind of there were inconsistencies with how we show the verdicts and how that changes. So has been changed a couple times, and I think we're at a very good and simple state now with that. I just fixed a Windows performance bug in the UI.
More or less by accident.
Well, yeah, I triggered the bug by accident. I'm like, hey, that's not right. we gotta fix this. So got that code fixed, and there were other bugs. I had another attempt at fixing IPv6 for some people who lost IPv6 connectivity when they were using Portmaster. So lots of stuff that happened there, and also what's not yet in 1.6.8, which will be testing internally a bit longer, is the new kernel extension written in Rust. That's kind of almost complete now. So we're gonna do first test builds this or next week and starting testing that internally. And when we feel it's stable enough, we'll give that to our beta users and see what they think about it. So that will bring some small improvements, but will bring a lot more stability. So we'll finally solve all these weird crashes that are happening here and there and we just couldn't attribute. So that's very cool to go forward there. So a lot of stuff is going on in terms of stability, in terms of simplifying things, improving processes, making it easier for people to contribute. So yeah, a lot of things happening there, and that's kind of 168 is kind of there's really no change in the UI or something, or like big new features. It's just kind of lots of under the hood stuff. But 1.7 will have the profile syncing finally, which we'll be focusing on the next weeks too. So
which will then be 1.7.
Yeah, so it's finally nice to go back into a phase of releasing things that we've been working on so long. So that's really cool. And after that, we'll again take a little time to work on
2.0.
some substantial changes leading up to 2.0. Again, this will be a lot of changes for stability.
Yeah, the JavaScript error, for instance, will be gone by then.
Yeah, so a lot of changes in structure. We'll even ditch Electron in that during that time. We'll change how installers work. We'll change the update model. It's a lot of really necessary things that are like really deep down. So version 2 will not be a big kind of new feature, new UI, whatever. It's going to be stability, compatibility, simplicity, all that stuff. But we think that's really worth it. If you want to know more about version 2 and what's about it, you can check out the last live stream where we talked extensively about version 2.
That's true.
And what will be coming there. So I'll not go into that today too much.
I'm just going to quickly add a little bit thingamajig because we talked about this today, because you mentioned that we change how we do updates.
Mm-hmm.
I will try to convince everybody that we will look into Flatpak again, and that we might, because this will be the point where we would consider moving into app distribution, like thingamajig and so on. And I feel like Flatpak is at a point where the sandboxing has gotten a lot weaker, and people don't expect Flatpaks to be sandboxed anymore that much, because of course, like, Portmaster needs extended permissions, which is why Flatpak was not suitable for us in the beginning. But now I've seen so many applications which break with this idea of Flatpaks being sandboxed. And of course, if you are sandboxing Portmaster, like enforcing it, then you're breaking it, and then you probably know that you're the reason anyway. At least that's how I would operate. But yeah, we'll see.
We'll look into it probably. So we're still figuring out how exactly we'll do things and how exactly updates work in the future. But we want to simplify all of that. We don't need the automatic updates as hard as we needed in the beginning, when we were like iterating really fast and pushing a version every week practically. And we wanted everyone to be up to date. So Portmaster has already stabilized, and version 2 will be a big step to further stabilization of Portmaster. So we don't need stuff updates that are so fast anymore. Rather, we now need stability, and also for people that require very more kind of stability in terms of kind of control. They will be able to install old versions and pick their versions exactly that I want to install, because we'll be shipping like nice packages where everything's in there, and you can also then bootstrap that offline. So that's something that will kind of be solved in the process. But yeah, lots of fun stuff coming there.
Yeah, super cool. Okay, then let's talk about SPN. So Lab Monkey asked about SPN and MatLat asked about new features under development for SPN. So maybe quickly go through the features that we have and then maybe do a little vista of stuff we're thinking about, or I don't know how far out you want to go, or if you just do the immediate.
Well, I'm not sure like how far to go into like SPN features.
Currently, okay. And then let me do it. Okay, Lab Monkey.
You start and I chime in when I think
you want to add something. Okay, good. What SPN basically is it is a new protocol. So we opted for a privacy network similar to what the virtual privacy network is, but it was sort of like a naming thing. It used to be called Super Different, and we just landed there. I'm fairly okay with it, and I feel like people mostly know us from Portmaster, and that's a good thing. And then SPN is an upgrade, of course, but I hope that people will, I guess asking is a great point there. So why is it different, and how is it different? It technically is very different to what VPNs do. Technically, SPN takes the raw data and not the connection, which you want to send out. It takes it, transports it to a different server, and then establishes the connection through there. With the VPN, your computer is doing the whole connecting stuff, and then the VPN is just a dumb pipe that force reroutes the connection somewhere else. But the whole issue with the VPN, of course, is if that pipe has a leak somewhere, it's a valid connection that you established on your device, so the connection will still continue, and that's why leaking is an issue with VPNs. That's why they have to sort of like retroactively try to fix stuff around all of that things. Why they have to, so many issues with VPNs, and that's the reason why Portmaster and SPN does not have to do that, because like we're not rerouting a connection. We're taking the data and then like encrypting it multiple times. It's onion encrypted. So in that way, it's similar to Tor. Mm-hmm. The data gets through the network via at least we have multiple hops, and then the data gets unpacked, combined again because we're splitting it up as well, combined again into one set, and then from there the connection gets established. So that's how SPN works. And the reason why we're doing it as well in this way is that I already mentioned we're splitting the data. There is a cool post on the Wiki where it talks about what's it called again? Traffic analysis, basically, mm-hmm. where with a VPN, because you see the data stream, your data, like the pictures which you're loading, if you're watching this video for now, the compression for all the white space makes this video very unique in its signature, the bitrate that's coming in, because we're trying to optimize everything. It is not 1080p all the time, frame by frame, but it is compressing and it's doing stuff, so it's very unique. And so with a VPN, I can see that unique pattern in the packets, even if it's encrypted by a VPN, because encryption that the VPN does is the same on every packet, so the amount edit is the same. It's just like wrapping. Yeah. And I have a funny picture for that on the Wiki page, so please take a look. And so you can follow that to the VPN server, because the IP address, of course, is seen in each packet, and then follow that same packet stream to where you're going. Yeah. And even with a multi-hop VPN, you do the same thing just twice, because every packet is unique in that regard. So that's the reason why we take the raw data, we split it up in similar, everything is the same packet size. We are doing some padding there as well to make sure that the packets are all the same size. And they're the same for every portmaster. So as soon as you hit the SPN, you're mixing with all the other packets, which are all now looking the same, and which are then transferred throughout the network. And so you're mixing it much, much more mm-hmm. with everything mm-hmm. else, and that makes traffic analysis so hard, because as soon as you enter the network, it's indistinguishable from the other packets from other portmaster users, which is super unique in how we're doing it and stuff like that. And it's so different from what VPNs are doing, and that's the reason why we're doing it like this. So this is the main feature. For you as the user, that's a privacy feature. For you as the user, what is cool, I think it's cool that you can select easily per app where you want this app to go and not. You can exclude...
To exit to the internet.
Yeah, you can exclude domains. So you can, for instance, if your bank does not like you being in different countries all the time, you can exclude just the bank, and then the bank is clear text and so on.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's HTTPS. Yeah, it's ClearNet. It's HTTPS encrypted. We're not touching that, of course, but it's ClearNet. So you're going in straight from your account and stuff like that. So this is how we're different. We can do this on a domain inside one app basis, So what I typically recommend to people is then use multiple browsers, because that's easy to then also visually differentiate, maybe use different themes. For instance, for the YouTube live stream, I have Chrome installed, Google Chrome, because I'm using it only for YouTube. And I block all other connections, not just via SPN, but also with Portmaster, block all the other connections. And so this Google Chrome is my YouTube browser, because it's Google anyway. So, and it's also, of course, a flat pack that is very locked down and not allowed to do anything. So that's how I do that. And then I have another browser where I block all scripts, for instance, inside the browser as well, which is where when I click on a link, all this stuff opens up and so on, which is then also maybe restricted to only go into Europe or stuff like that. So you can do with Portmaster and SPN in combination of multiple things, and SPN just is very flexible in regards to where you want to move stuff. Now we're getting into sort of like a vista into the future. What MadLad has been asking maybe as well is, we have been talking about the potential that you can do per domain routing as well. This is technically possible, but something that we have not implemented and something that we won't implement in the near future.
Yeah, the problem with that is, as with many things, with what we do with Portmaster, is that we need to find a way to kind of expose this technical complexity in an intuitive way to the user. And I think we've done that sometimes well, and sometimes we've failed more on that. Yeah. So we also, in the past, we removed features because they were just too complex to expose and use interface in an intuitive way. Yeah. So we got to remove them and kind of simplify things again. And that's kind of the thing holding us back. So technically, it's everything's there. We can do it. It's just super complicated. How do we expose that? How do we make people decide? Because that's kind of, especially that is an area that's kind of also affects kind of lives between Portmaster and SPN. So kind of we have rules, and then we have kind of the SPN exclude rules or a different list. How do they interact? Like, where would I even do that, and how would I do it? Yeah. So it's not that trivial. Kind of just the configuration interface. Yeah. And that's what makes it hard. So we want to do it. We just don't know how it makes sense to expose that to the user. So as Rafael said, what we're suggesting to do now is, especially for browsers, have multiple browsers and kind of solve it that way for now, because that makes things easier.
For you. And it's also on the top, I think, when we added that quick select a country feature, that made it a lot easier for people also to understand how they can then part. And this is also like a learning process, of course, for new people. And then we are always getting questions like, do a tutorial, do more of that. And then I'm starting to do tutorials, and then people are like, you're doing them wrong. And I'm like, okay, well then let me know how to do them better. But yeah, so if you have suggestions, if somebody is watching and is like, oh, I have such an obvious idea on how to do that, those combinations, we first know that we are thinking about redoing settings maybe in the further future. We have ideas.
Yeah,
I'm just careful in terms of giving you a timeline on that, but we have ideas in improving the settings. But if you already have like mapped out, and maybe you're a graphical designer and you have ideas on how to do that, let us know. Like, we're open source for a reason. This will always be like free, of course, for everybody. Those sorts of things. Yeah. So like, let us know if you have ideas. Share them. But if not, we have also ideas. And the issue with contributions sometimes, of course, also is that we don't know when we can do them, and just having pretty pictures is not always helpful. But if you have, get in touch, and if you're passionate about that, let us know. We're like open. That's partly the reason why we changed the building structure and so on, that we wanted to make it easier to collaborate and get people in, and exactly.
Working on Portmaster should be as easy as possible. So we and the community, we can focus on the things that actually bring value. So
yeah, exactly.
That's it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So new features, I guess the per domain thingamajig, that would be sort of considered a new-ish feature. And I want to quickly add that we are also thinking about like the basic idea of SPN, which I've pitched earlier, won't change, but we have some improvement ideas where we can improve the speeds significantly, or
it's like it's mostly scaling issues.
Exactly.
So in two senses.
Sure.
One sense, of course, is IP reputation.
Yeah.
That's one where we kind of really new to. So like, we have experience in kind of all the technology. We know privacy, we know cryptography, we know how to protect information.
Yeah.
But IP reputation is really its own thing. And so that's a thing we are figuring out, kind of learning as we go. And so yeah, that's something that's definitely a challenge for us.
And great distinction there. Yeah. What do we know, and what do we know that we know, and where are we aware that we don't know anything anymore?
Yeah.
Like,
so we're also thinking about like, where could we get help on that?
Yeah.
Who could help us to understand better how to do that?
And we are getting in touch with people next week. So
yeah. So
people with tons of experience about IP reputation.
So maybe we can learn from them. So we'll see. That's definitely one challenge we're having. The second challenge is the scaling of the network itself. So we noticed that when the network is full and there's a lot of stuff going on, that connections seem to kind of slow down or die, stuff like that. And it's that is really, really hard. It's such a big network with so many things going on at the same time. It's really hard to tell
what the root cause.
Yeah, what's going on, and like where are they all kind of the flow control. So that's kind of the choice we made with SPN when we built it, is that it's gonna be like transporting layer 5 data. So that's what Rafael mentioned, that it's deconstructing your connection locally, just taking the data and transferring that. And that's pretty cool because we minimize the data that we need to ship. We leave behind all the potential dangerous data, all stuff. So really nice. So us leaving behind the potential dangerous metadata. Of course, the data we can control, the app that you use controls that. So, and that's, of course, was an idea that was good to a certain extent. And now we see that managing the flows is a very complex, difficult problem, and that's something we would like to offload to the network itself, and also your operating system that is has so much research and development in there to optimize that. So we're trying we're thinking about kind of taking a multi-layered approach here. Switching from tunneling layer 5 data to tunneling layer 3 data. That means that, for example,
a combination.
So the IP data and stuff like TCP will still in there. So your OS will still kind of be able to do flow control itself and regulate how fast traffic will flow, and that will help with the scaling. And then on top of that, we'll still have the multi-hop, we'll still have onion encryption, so that won't change. It's just a kind of a layer in between that we're wanting to optimize.
We're layering the data, and then we're layering the traffic as well. And so currently we only have one traffic layer, and we're thinking about adding a second traffic layer, where the current one is nested inside. That makes stuff easier. I think this is
one way you could put it. It's difficult to explain.
It is difficult to explain.
And we're still in the beginning of that, exploring options.
And looking into it.
That's definitely something we're looking at. So we're aware of that there are things slowing down and stuff like that, and it is difficult. It's a very big and complex thing, and we also want to simplify things in the SPN. And one part of simplifying is that we stop doing all the flow control ourselves and start kind of finding the sweet spot where we can still give you the best privacy, but we can also leverage all the existing infrastructure in order to give you great performance on there. So
100%.
Very, very difficult problem, but we are looking into things. We are trying to improve, but it will take some time.
Yeah. Super cool. Okay. Then LabMonkey also asked about multiple portmasters managed by a dashboard or something. This is not something that Safing will be doing. We thought about that, and I think this is the first time I'm talking about this on a live stream. I'm not sure. We have been asked this for years now, and we have been asked similar things by external people as well, who wanted to sort of give us financial incentives to do so as well. We felt that this would be the first step from Portmaster moving away from a privacy product towards a more security product, which Portmaster is, but then it would be a security product for more towards companies and yes, families as well, but that's only one step away. And especially when you're talking about families, you're talking about controlling what your kids can do, and then it's external control, and then it's something that we don't want to touch. That's something where Portmaster is not used for. Yes, people who are like, well, can we put it behind the admin password and stuff like that? We're looking into this. We understand that this might be something where you want to sort of protect the devices of your kids, but controlling them remotely is something that we don't want. That just is a can of worms that we see is not suitable for Safing, not suitable for Portmaster in general. The two of us are currently thinking about doing a spin that is going into that direction, and if you're interested, follow us on Mastodon and the other socials. We will be maybe talking about stuff there. Rest assured that we will always focus Portmaster and Safing on consumers, and the reason why we are thinking about all this other stuff is because we see that there is a need for this, and that you're asking this here is expected, but Safing is not we don't want to mix this. This is not, even if the technology is cool and we see that there's potential for this, for managing multiple devices and a fleet of devices or a family of devices. Altogether, this is not a privacy use case, and we would see issues that could creep up and incentives that could mix and stuff like that, and we don't want that.
So the incentives just of these two visions wouldn't align and it wouldn't fit together, and one of them would suffer.
Exactly, and maybe in the beginning we could force them together, but at one point, either, as you're saying, either one would have to break away or it would suffer, and this is not good, and this is the reason why we're at. So, Lab Monkey, don't just follow us on Discord, maybe follow us on Mastodon as well, and I think I'm still on X-ish, but who knows. So stuff like that could be interesting to you, but it of course depends. Like if you're just asking for a family, maybe don't try to control your kids too much. Maybe look into something like NextDNS and so on. I think there was other options out there already.
Yeah, really depending on what you like to do, you can combine Portmaster well with other systems like NextDNS and kind of run them together to get the stuff you want. So there are like a lot of options there, and Portmaster is definitely focused on privacy, and that's definitely how I want to keep it. And it is a consumer product. And we want to keep it free and open source.
We want to
forever.
It sounds like
forever.
Exactly. Forever.
We don't want any like
external
weird
incentives
to mix up. No.
Exactly. That is true.
It's gonna stay clean. We're running quite well on sustainability. So
thank you to everybody who's supporting us.
SafeThing is funded by its own customers. There's no need to like do shenanigans here.
Exactly. Exactly. Because as we saw with other,
there are a lot of examples.
Exactly.
Things go south when they start splitting incentives. So.
Exactly. And this is the reason. And this is the reason we see what you're asking, Lab Monkey, and we see others have been asking similar things, and we don't see this in SafeThing. And we rather, and I think like you have from the get-go always said, like there is a vision, there's a mission for SafeThing, and we're not mixing it. And over the years, we always stuck to it, and we always sort of like looked in the situation, what is required now for our user base, for our customers, for sometimes just for society, because sometimes our users are asking for stuff that we don't feel like is a well fit, and so that's the reason why we chose stuff like this, and why we're moving in the ways why we are, and not mixing incentives. Because even if you think you're doing it for the right thing, if you're like already see there can be a misalignment, later down the road, it might lead you to make bad decisions. And we just want to be cautious and say no from the get-go. So there won't probably ever be a dashboard to manage multiple PCs. We have been thinking about with the syncing stuff.
So that goes a bit in that like home use thing. So of course you can not only sync your own devices, but kind of sync your family devices. But
it won't be a dashboard. You don't see what the others are doing.
We may need to introduce a plan with more devices. So you can do that. Or we're not sure how this will exactly work. So maybe you can just link them. Like right now, you can link them anyway because you're not dependent on account. You can just do that with kind of your favorite sync tool anyway. So do your thing. So that's kind of one step in that direction.
But the dashboard where you see...
That's something where we see, okay, this is kind of really a consumer use case that works with privacy, where you are in control. So you can use your own like homegrown self-hosted sync solution to synchronize the data. And maybe there's potential there to kind of add authentication, add signatures to that, to make it impossible maybe for other devices to get in, kind of have read-only devices that kind of only receive data, stuff like that. So you can kind of remotely manage rules for a couple devices, kind of to have them the same everywhere.
Yeah, but that's rules, and that's not data. That's not a dashboard.
Exactly.
You don't see what the others are doing and stuff like that, and so on. And that's partly the thing where
privacy,
we're like, exactly,
privacy.
Exactly. And this is what I'm at. Like, this might sound like we're going into that direction with the syncing stuff, but this is clearly not, because, like, as you just explained. And thank you, Mike. Mike just said that he says, like, we too are the real deal when it comes to privacy and keeping users safe. Thank you. Yeah, that's what we are here for. That's what we.
Yeah, that's what the vision.
Exactly, and that's what we're protecting with decisions like this, and picking our battles and choosing what to do and what not to do. Mm-hmm. Matlad has a fun suggestion. He's asking for a browser extension.
Interesting.
Also stuff that we heard in the past. Not to say that you're not. Like, this is a good thing. If we hear stuff multiple times, what I'm always saying is good ideas come again. Like, if people suggest something and they're like, no, this issue needs to be open until you implement it. And I'm like, nobody reacted on this for 2 months. If it's good, somebody else will create a new issue in 2 months. Or add to this issue in 3 years, who knows? So I'm confident that good ideas will come again. Some you need to sort of, like, if it's lightning in a bottle, you need to look after it. But ideas like a browser extension, they have come up again. And for us, hearing them again popping up just means that people are still thinking about this and that it's still interest for it. But yeah, do you want to go into why we don't yet have a browser extension? Because you don't want to?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about what you're thinking. So
okay.
I say the words that you expect me to say.
Browsers, that's reading minds is not a skill you've developed yet. No. The basic thing is browsers are basically operating systems at this point. So the complexity of a browser is close to an operating system. Chrome OS springs to mind, but they of course moved to.
They realized that, and they were like, "Let's just get rid of the US. Let's just use the browser for everything."
Yeah, they thought about that, and then they moved to Linux as a foundation again. But yeah, so browsers are basically their own operating system, and developing a browser extension is
well, it's not that difficult.
It's not that difficult, but it's also not that simple.
Yeah, but that said, there is a very small proof of concept of a browser extension lying around somewhere in a repo. So if
maybe somebody finds it and finishes it.
if there's someone here that would love to, like, already develop browser extensions, knows their way around browser extensions and Angular, that's what we're using in that area, then
Angular
there's the basics. There's some basics done. So I think the extension can communicate with Portmaster and stuff like that. So there's definitely potential there. So if anyone would love to do that, that's great. We don't have the time right now to open up a new project.
Finish Android first.
Yeah, finish Android first. That's the next one, Android.
Yeah.
So, but definitely, I could see that as a fun thing if anyone is up for it.
Absolutely.
And we can arrange a call and kind of try to give you information and to get you started.
Yeah.
But yeah, if anyone's interested, just ping us and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah. But you're right. Next project is Android, and then we will continue looking into other stuff. Not sure if the browser extension would be the thing afterwards. But Matlad is talking about allowing connections, so quickly allowing block connections. I guess you're on, if you're asking this, either you're in prompt mode or you're on default block and then only allows some stuff. The easiest way for you, just as a suggestion, Matlad, very quickly, is have the UI open and then click on allow connection on the domain itself. You don't need to go into settings. You can just click allow connections, like expand the connection and then click allow. I think like most people don't do that, and then they're like, oh, but I need to go into the UI and it's so complicated and 5 steps and whatever. No, it's not. It's just like one click. It's allow connection on the thing that has the red dot next to it. So fairly easy, I think. If it's not easy, let us know in the comments. If you did not know about this, well, that's also interesting for us because, like as we talked about earlier, we know that some stuff is a little bit complex in port mastery. This should be easy, but you of course need to know that it's like this. It's almost like I got the question about like control click. Like somebody was like, I cannot copy paste. I'm like, just hit control and click. And there is actually an area where we sometimes give those things as hints, but of course it's not that obvious. Medlat asks, how about taskbar shortcut? The taskbar icon will be replaced when we move away from Electron.
I think you mean something different. Isn't there like a way in Windows where you can add custom actions to the context menu of like applications and stuff? I think it's something we thought about, kind of was brought up once, that you can just right click an application and there would be kind of a...
We don't have right clicks.
Block. No. Windows.
Yeah, we don't.
No. Windows UI.
Okay.
You have the taskbar with your applications. You have Steam, or like you have something else, Discord, no, YouTube, app, whatever. Is there a YouTube app? I don't know. Right click that and you can say block with Portmaster. Like we would add
into their thing as a context item.
Yes,
I understand.
There are these like things you can do with Windows to extend their context menus.
Not soon. The answer to that is
not soon. Awesome idea. Would love to do stuff like that. But yeah, we're missing resources.
Yeah. And the taskbar thing will get an overhaul
to
get that
icon.
The tray icon will get an overhaul, but it's in a taskbar in Windows. We'll get an overhaul and with the Tauri change.
Yeah, with version 2.
Exactly, with version 2. Because currently it is a separate app. So currently, if you look into the wiki, there's a structure of how Portmaster works. And notification, I think the Portmaster-notification is the exe called, the process, notifier.
Notifier, yeah.
Portmaster notifier. And that will get removed because with Tauri, it is actually light enough that we can have it included in there, and then we can combine stuff into one, make stuff easier, make stuff simpler,
faster,
smaller, so many cool things. And then we don't have people hopefully asking, why isn't it opening? Because currently when you open the UI, it checks if this process is running, and if it's not, then it starts it and stuff like that. So yeah, all this stuff hopefully will get fixed soon. Trademark. We'll see. So 2.0 is a little bit further out, as Daniel was saying. Like, listen to 2 weeks ago's episode. Episode, we talked about 2.0 back then. It's almost 4 o'clock. We're almost done. So this is a quick reminder. If you want questions,
answered,
exactly, ask them now. There's a delay. I don't know if people know this. There's a delay between you writing and us seeing them.
Yeah, it's probably half a minute or so.
Yeah, that's partly the reason. So if you hear this for the first time, that's the reason why I'm doing it like this and why we're keep on rambling after this announcement and not immediately jumping into the conversations. So we'll see.
Yeah, also like you can, of course, on Discord, post your questions before if you can make it, or like even a day before, so we can kind of
prepare as well.
Think about and prepare and kind of sort of cluster questions, stuff like that.
Exactly.
So if you have questions that we'd like us to talk about, post them before on Discord.
Says question for the live chat, but it does not need to be live. You can do them days before. And people have been doing that. I think maybe CP as well. TCH, of course, did that in the past. Don't know. But because CP is here and he said, hey ho, and I waved with an emoji back. I hope he's still here. So no, Mike is typing.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Are there other announcements, things we need to share with the people?
Right now, just asking all beta users to help us test the new release, just to make sure everything's working correctly with the new build system and all the bug fixes. Would be great to have some feedback there. We're gonna start testing the new kernel extension in the coming weeks in beta, so that's gonna be extra exciting. I really hope we don't crash anyone's PC, but we're pretty confident because it's Rust and it's supposed to catch every error before you ship it. Well, of course not, but that's what they're hyping up for. But it definitely is a great increase in developer experience. A lot better than writing it in C.
We need to put Rust somewhere now in the GitHub project. You know that, like that. We will need to tell people that we're using Rust now.
That's true. Yeah. It's true.
Yeah. And if we use Tauri, which also has as a feature, it's written in Rust.
We could rewrite the build system to use Arch, so we can use Arch and Rust and Go. Wow, like we're just missing only a couple buzzwords.
AI. Some AI,
right, AI.
And blockchain is not that important anymore.
We need some kind of local large language model that we can use to like
Llama.
We could use it to sort connections.
Okay. Mike J actually asked an actual question. He was asking, do we still have a donation page? And I guess Mike is also asking because Open Collective actually had issues in the US. This so Safing has two options for donations, but actually we prefer the third one. But that's just us. The third one is subscribe to Portmaster Plus, Portmaster Pro, and I call it subscribe because there's a time duration you have access to the thing, but it is like we have multiple one-time payment options. So if you just want to send us money, you can buy one of those. Try it, and if you like it, keep it, or if you don't like it, just think about it as a donation, and that's that. The other actual options are, and my recommendation for that would be maybe Portmaster Plus, because Portmaster Plus actually gives you local stuff, and if you don't think you need SPN, and with all the stuff we talked about earlier, Portmaster Plus just adds stuff like the history and bandwidth. You see bandwidth use of each connection.
And sync will be coming too.
And sync will be coming in 1.7, which will be like a couple of releases in the future, but will come soon, and then you can sync. And it's also a complete backup of all the profiles into a folder, and then you can sync that folder and stuff like that. We will talk extensively about that when it's out. So stay posted. So the two actual donation options are GitHub. You can sponsor us on GitHub. That is a donation. It's just money. You can do that monthly. You can do that one time. You will show up as a sponsor, so people will see that if that is something you care about. If you want anonymous donation, we have an Open Collective. That's what I mentioned earlier. And we're with Open Collective Europe, which still exists. So some Open Collective is a combination of a website which provides some service, and then legal entities below that, and then projects below that. So we have a contract with Open Collective Europe. They're actually called Open Collective Europe, but there are other entities in the middle layer there as well. And you're actually wiring it to them, and because their status is not, we are a for-profit, like Safing is a for-profit company, even though, whatever. Technically, we're a for-profit company, but the Open Collective entity collecting the money is not. That's the reason why it's tax deductible and it's an actual donation. And then the money stay with Open Collective, and then we can pay out stuff from there. So we actually have projects there as well, stuff like the Android app, stuff like some other features like threat detection and so on. If you donate into one of those, we consider that as a pod, sort of like prize money for somebody who is finishing that. Of course, we have some rules in there as well. People need to reach out. We actually have some work prepared for stuff like that. It's similar to the browser extension. Maybe we'll do a browser extension project there as well.
Cool. That's not idea.
Maybe. Let us know if you want that. And then people can donate towards that. And then if somebody wants to finish it, we will actually then share that money with the person who did the actual development. And they don't need to be an employment, like in employment saving and stuff like that and so on. So donations via Open Collective or via GitHub, and on Open Collective again there are some subsections you can donate to. We thought about this as voting with your money. When you actually want something and you cannot do the code, then you can help us pay somebody who will code. Code does not, like, I know ChatGPT can code, but not to the quality that we want. And not to the quality that you would want to run the code on your machine. That's part of the reason. Those are ways to donate to Portmaster. And again, it's not just a direct donation to us. It can be to whoever then finishes the work, but typically it will probably be us. Mike then said Rust with a exclamation mark. Yeah. I'm not that excited about Rust, I guess, but it's fun, it's cool, and we like some of the stuff that has been done with Rust at the moment, which is super cool. Mike says maybe in the future crypto address to donate to. This is more complicated with crypto, because saving will have to know where the money is coming from. With crypto and stuff like that, money laundering is always something that people are sort of like, oh, but how do you know it's not money laundering, and know your customer and stuff like that? We don't have to know our customers up until a certain threshold, but if we would open stuff up like this, and if we would make it, this is something we would not want. If somebody actually wants to donate via crypto, maybe reach out to us. I know this defeats sort of the purpose, but and also, like, of course you can just do again a payment, like pay us for Portmaster Plus and then wire us not just 40 euros but how much you want to donate. You will get that actually. So if it's 41, then you get this time extra on your plan, but I feel like that's should be good enough.
Telling them how to defeat the system. Don't.
It's not defeating any system. It's just okay. And Mike says crypto thing can get tricky. Yeah, it can, and we want to stay on the good side with the government thing, because we want to sort of like, we have not gotten any requests of anything yet, but we don't know about
except
anything
for, of
about
course, the all DMCA request.
That's not governmental. We have not gotten any knocks or anything, which is super cool. In Austria, of course, this would not be a problem. We know about Open Collective, not Open Collective, Foundation for Applied Privacy. They have been running Tor nodes for years, and we're in contact with them. So
it's pretty chill here.
It's super chill, and we're on the up and up of in regards to all of that. But nonetheless,
if you risk something, we want to risk it for the right stuff, not just for donations.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Because like as people in the advantage play territory say, so people who are counting cards in casinos, which is legal in the US and most European countries, counting cards is technically legal, but it feels like it should be illegal. And what they're saying is, if you're doing something that is potentially illegal, don't do crime while you're doing it, because they're talking about not showing ID if you have to a police officer or stuff like that, or to people. And so they're like, if you're doing something illegal, don't do something illegal and stuff like that. So we're not doing anything illegal. Everything is on the up and up. But again, like donations via crypto that could look actually illegal, which is why we're not doing it. Hope you get that. See, I thought about talking about crypto today.
You did?
We actually did.
Yeah.
Who knows? Okay, we're over, and I think I dug myself a little hole here.
Yeah.
I thank you all for being here. I thank you for helping us create Portmaster, sharing like with friends and family about what we're doing. And for everybody who is already a subscriber, and if you're not, and if you like what we're doing, it helps a lot like it really helps a lot.